There is this moment in the film Call Me by Your Name where Timothy Chalamet as character Elio realizes he's falling in love with his friend Oliver. It's one of the most powerful coming of age scenes I've ever seen on screen. Let me set the scene. Elio and Oliver are sitting in the peach tree. They've just shared an intimate moment, and Elio, overwhelmed by his feelings, asks himself, how did I get here? And as he thinks back on the summer, specifically a conversation with his father, Elio learns a profound truth about love. His dad tells him, sometimes you just gotta let things happen, and when they do, not try to change them, not try to make them different, just exist in it, embrace it. Now, I want you to take a moment to think about a time in your own life when you had an experience that left you feeling transformed. Maybe it was a trip, a conversation, or like Elio, realizing you were falling in love. How did you feel in that moment? Were you confused, excited, overwhelmed? Welcome to the Defining Moment series, where we explore the experiences that have shaped who we are. Today, I thought I knew what love felt like, but nothing prepared me for the flood of emotions I experienced that night. It wasn't like in the movies. It wasn't perfect. And honestly, I'm glad it wasn't, because what I learned that night changed the way I see relationships forever. Before we dive in, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey of exploring our defining moments. This series is close to my heart because it's a celebration of life, the experiences that have shaped us, and most importantly, the courage it takes to share those stories. I'll be interviewing amazing people, hearing their tales, and sharing my own as well. So please join me on this adventure. Let's learn, let's grow, and let's inspire each other along the way. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Okay, let's jump into the story. I was 17, a senior in high school. My world felt like it was on the edge of something big: college, freedom, adulthood. I had a boyfriend, Mark. We'd been dating for a little over 7 months. He was sweet, funny, thoughtful. The kind of guy who waited for me after class and carried my books even when I told him not to. At that age, you feel everything more intensely: the butterflies, the confusion, the curiosity. We had talked about sex, sometimes jokingly, sometimes seriously, but the truth is I didn't really know what I was ready for. I felt pressure, not from him. From everything else: friends who'd done it, shows that romanticized it, articles that made it sound like some grand milestone. I kept asking myself, is it time? Am I ready? What if I regret it? But mixed with the nerves was a kind of yearning. I didn't just want the act, I wanted closeness. I wanted to feel understood, held, connected. That was the emotional space I was in. The day it happened wasn't planned. It was a chilly Friday evening in early spring. My parents were away at a family event I chose to skip. Mark came over after school. We ate pizza, watched a movie, and then just sat together, talking, laughing. Everything felt comfortable. He looked at me and said, "We don't have to do anything. I just like being with you." That one sentence, it melted something in me. There was no dramatic music, no dim lights, just two teenagers trying to figure out what love really looked like. We talked about it, what we both felt, what we were nervous about. We agreed that if at any moment it didn't feel right, we'd stop. No guilt, no pressure. Even though I had made the choice in that moment, I still felt a swirl of emotions. Am I doing this because I truly want to, or because I think I should? Will this change things between us? What if it's awkward? What if I cry? And actually, I did cry, not because I was hurt or scared, but because it felt so big, so vulnerable. Afterwards, we just laid there, fully clothed again, quiet. He held my hand, and I remember him whispering, "Are you okay?" I nodded, but I didn't really know how I felt. In the days that followed, I wasn't sure what to think. I didn't feel magical. I didn't feel grown up. I felt raw, uncertain, tender. And even though Mark and I stayed together for a while after, things did change. Not in a bad way, just in a real way. Looking back, I'm glad it happened the way it did, with honesty, care, and consent. But if I'm being honest with my younger self, I'd say this: you don't need to rush. Love isn't proven through physical acts. It's shown through patience, listening, and how safe someone makes you feel. I thought sex would answer questions, but it actually raised more about who I was, what I valued, what I needed to feel emotionally safe. What I learned is that emotional readiness isn't about age or relationship length or social norms. It's about knowing yourself, having open communication, and feeling respected every step of the way. But while that initial experience was pivotal, it wasn't the end of my journey. Sex education is often about the basics, the birds, the bees, the facts. But what about the feelings, the emotions, the communication skills? Those are equally important, aren't they? When it comes to sex education, we've got to start earlier and talk more openly. We owe it to ourselves and future generations to create a world where young people are not just informed, but empowered, where they feel comfortable asking questions and making choices that align with their values and well-being. And if you rewatching this and you haven't had your first time yet, or even if you have, I want you to know there is no perfect way for this to happen. Movies and media often show sex as this explosive, flawless experience, but in real life, it's more human. And being human means it's okay for things to be a little messy or emotional or confusing. Here are a few things I wish I had heard back then. Consent isn't just about saying yes or no. It is about feeling safe enough to change your mind at any moment and knowing your partner respects that. Safe sex isn't just a precaution, it's a form of love. Whether it's using protection, talking about STDs, or getting tested, these conversations matter. And you deserve someone who's mature enough to have them with you. Emotional maturity matters more than timing. Some people wait until their 20s, others sooner. What matters is that you're not doing it for anyone else, not to keep a partner, not because everyone else is, not because you feel like you're falling behind. You're allowed to feel all the feelings: excitement, fear, regret, relief, sadness, joy. There's no right or wrong way to feel. Just honor whatever comes up for you. You are not broken if it didn't go perfectly. If your first time was disappointing or hurtful, that doesn't define your worth. You can heal. You can grow. And you can still have beautiful, respectful relationships in your future. Here's what I've learned after sharing this story with close friends. Every single one of us has a different first-time story. Some were beautiful. Some were awkward. Some were regretted. Some were deeply healing. And all of them were valid. Whatever your story looks like, it's yours. You deserve safety, comfort, and kindness. If no one's told you this yet today, you are enough, just as you are. Your choices matter, and so does your heart. If this story touched you or reminded you of your own experience, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. You don't have to share anything personal, but even just saying thank you for this can remind someone else that they're not alone. And if you'd like more real-life, honest conversations about relationships, emotional growth, and sex education, subscribe to Emma Johnson Stories. This space is for you. Thanks for listening. Be kind to yourself.